Welcome to Dr. Bingo Fairmont's Management Minute. Dr. Fairmont is on vacation today, so in his place, my name is Russell Clayton, and I have Adam Shoemaker here. We will fill in for him. We are coming to you from the St. Leo University Donald R. Tapia School of Business recording studio in sunny Tampa Bay, Florida. Shu, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Russell. How are you?
Doing well. Coming off of seeing Zootopia a couple of days ago. A lot of buzz around that. What are your thoughts?
So I did not see the movie, but I know a little bit about it, and I saw some previews and some clips, and I noticed they hit pretty much every cop movie trope that there is out there. It's like a 48 hours thing going on, right?
There is. There is actually a play on Breaking Bad towards the end. So if you're a listener and you're a Breaking Bad fan, know that was represented well.
That's sweet. I saw that there's a piece from Training Day in there, which is a little bit more of an adult movie, but it's cool that they gave a little shout out to it. So
yeah, cool. Disney's doing what they can to catch the adults, the parents' attention. Well, listen, I've been ruminating on a thought here over the past couple of days on this idea of mandatory vacation. And from a managerial perspective, which, as this podcast is about, we're talking about all things management. Can we mandate that our employees take vacation?
I think we should. I think that it's a break. It's a chance to clear your mind. And I think in this modern world where we're all workaholics and we want to, do well and get in good and have that face time, it's hard for people to get away and say, I need to take the vacation because they're worried about being away from the office for too long.
It really is. You bring up a good point. The face time is important. And, we were told that from day one. Show your face. Yep. Show your face. Show your face. And now the logic is get out of the office and go for a vacation. Just with everything. There's pros and cons on this. The con is just because you're out on vacation, as you and I know, when we're on vacation, the world doesn't stop. So what do we do about that?
It's true. And I guess the big question is, are you in the kind of position where you can take, if the boss says, you know what, you need to take some vacation, everyone should take their vacation, can you take it? Who's going to cover for you? If there's something that comes up while you're away, is there somebody who can handle it? And I think people kind of psych themselves out. They say, you know what, if all that's true, if somebody can cover for me, if somebody can handle it while I'm away, and if something bad happens while I'm gone, someone's going to take care of it, why am I here?
I'm
replaceable. Going to say, well, why do I have Russell? If somebody else can cover for him while he's gone, let's just have that person do his job.
Right. That's a good thought. We are replaceable in that scenario, in that context. On the other hand, I think context matters. If we're talking the CEO or some high-level executive versus the ground level, the intro-level worker, it's maybe easier for the CEO. I'm going to take maybe the opposite view that most people would say. The CEO can never not be there, but maybe it is easier for him or her to delegate, to assign tasks, to assign somebody to put out the fires while they're gone for a week, for 2 weeks. Whereas I see your scenario with the lower level worker feeling perhaps replaceable if they don't show up for a week and things happen smoothly without them.
And really here we're talking about professional level or knowledge workers, it sounds like. Because, again, looking at industries like retail or like restaurants, and you have your shifts, and you say, yeah, you know what, I need to take some vacation. And the boss says, get away for a while.
Right.
That's not going to happen, the week before Christmas if you're in retail, or the busy Mother's Day weekend when it's a restaurant. You can't just say, go take some time off. You need to go get a break, because that's not how it works in these more entry-level jobs.
And I think you're right. It is the context of the knowledge workers. And also service workers, like you're saying. If you're fire, police, EMT, what are your thoughts there? That's not necessarily your service workers like your retail and your restaurants, but it's not exactly the high-level knowledge worker either.
For that kind of person, where there are more demands to the job, and it's a sort of a specialized work or a skilled work, but not a professional knowledge level kind of work, what do you do for those people? And how does the boss, I guess, you want to make sure that they're taking their breaks and they're getting a vacation and a chance to decompress, but you have to be really careful with scheduling, because now what if everybody wants to take off Christmas week or summer vacation, and
Right.
you have to keep that level of staffing up all year round.
Exactly. The question that we should ask is what's the big deal? I am a fan of vacation. I love to go take my family to the beach, go to Disney World, do all those things.
It's the coming back that's hard.
It is the
Yes.
coming back. I see the value in vacation, but for the man or woman who may be listening saying, what's the big deal? Why should this be mandatory? Well, why should it? What is the purpose for taking vacation? Is it just to make people get out of the office, or what can we benefit from that?
And there's a lot of evidence that vacations are energy increasing. So when you go out and you take your break, you come back, you work better. If you've had a good break, not just I'll go away from the office for a couple of days, but people are still emailing me and etc.
Right.
You'll be more productive when you come back. You'll be more creative when you come back. You'll be more loyal to the organization and things like that. So there's lots of good outcomes from making sure your people take their vacations.
And I think you bring up a good point, Shu. For these mandatory vacations, as we are looking, and I found this recently in Kiplinger, they noted that the employers are mandating not only that the employees take the vacation, but that they cease all communication, no calls, no emails, no reports back to the work, completely disconnect.
Making it a true vacation.
A true vacation. I think that's important to note, because all those things that you just mentioned, all those positive benefits, and I'm right there with you, I think those go down the drain if my employer says, go to the beach for a week, but I expect you to check your email once an hour.
Right.
I believe that's defeating the purpose. So I like this trend where certain employers are mandating, A, take your vacation time, go for a week, but as long as it includes, B, disconnect. No calls, no emails. Don't check in with the administrative assistant. Don't check in with a coworker to make sure that the place hasn't fallen apart. Leave. Give your brain a break. Okay? Give yourself time to decompress.
Absolutely. And I think one of the figures that you shared with me is that only about half of employees or employees only use about half of their paid time off,
Right.
which is unfortunate. What does that say to the organization? This is not a benefit that we value. If they do a benefit survey and say, hey, what do you like? Or they look at their records and they say, well, gosh, people are only taking half of the time off that we offer them. Maybe they don't need all that time off. And
Right.
that's not what we want to encourage, right? We want to make sure that the boss knows, hey, I value this vacation.
Right.
If it's a real vacation, if it's going to make me better when I come back.
Exactly. Now, Dr. Fairmont's away today. If he were here, what do you think he would tell us, and what would he tell the listener to do regarding this topic?
Well, I think that not everybody who's a listener is in a position to tell their employees. Maybe they're not the boss. They can't
Right.
say, let's have mandated vacation. But they should make sure to take their vacation days. They should talk to their boss and say, let's make this a real vacation. I'm going to go away. I'm going to step away. I'm not going to be connected. And then when I come back, I'm going to be able to work harder.
Exactly. I like that thought, because you're exactly right. Most of us, you and I included, we don't call the shots. We can't mandate that any one person take a mandatory vacation. That said, I think if Dr. Fairmont were here, he would say, take your vacation days. Work with your supervisor. Negotiate with that person to have the opportunity to disconnect. I'd also think that maybe Dr. Fairmont would tell us, if we can't take a full week, maybe take a micro vacation. Take a day. Take a long weekend. Take those vacations. You mentioned some great things that are outcomes of taking this time. I think one of the other things is creativity. We're going to be more creative, and the research tells us that. We have these mental breaks from work. We're going to come back more creative. So I think there's a lot of evidence. We've only had a short time here today to cover some of this, but the evidence is building, it's growing, and it's pointing to the fact that vacation is a good thing. So speaking of that, we're going to wrap up for today. Next time, we're going to talk about the idea of unlimited vacation. So not mandated
Nice.
vacation, but unlimited
Nice.
vacation. So kind of going in the opposite direction. For now, we'll sign off. If you see Dr. Fairmont, please let him know that we are looking for him and that we'd love for him to join us for episode 2.
Absolutely. And thank you to St. Leo University, the Donald R. Tapia School of Business. Our sound technician is Dylan Verge, and our music comes from bensound.com.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a great day.